Should we refrain from giving da'wah to people who are highly unlikely to accept Islam,
لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله.
as they will be held accountable once they have received the message? So, for us, if someone is capable of explaining Islam properly and the situation is available, then you should tell them. You should tell them. Even if they're highly unlikely, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. uh, look, I know of a situation where someone, there was a convert, he was a Hindu convert, and he went and spoke to his grandmother. She was really elderly, and she was like, 80s, and her memory wasn't quite what it was. She couldn't grasp things as well. And he tried explaining to her that God is one. And she said to him, like, I wish you hadn't told me, like, I don't know what to do with this right now. She couldn't process it. So if she's never come across this concept and she can't process it, because one of the conditions of this is that for the message to be delivered, the person has to hear the message and understand the message, or read it and understand it. As long as it's delivered and understood. So if that hasn't happened, then they're not likely to be punished on the day of judgment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like Imam al-Ghazali and others have said, that Allah will pardon those who the message of Islam hasn't reached, or if a distorted message has reached them. So if if this person can't understand it, then inshallah they'll be excused. But if there is a person who's capable of knowing, understanding, processing it, we should tell them. It's our responsibility. And if you don't, you may be, you may be questioned by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Or the person may come to you on the day of judgment. Why didn't you tell me about Islam? And you can say, well, I didn't think you'd be interested. Well, maybe I would have, they might say. They might say, maybe I would have gone away and thought about it. So if you have the opportunity, you have the requisite understanding, tell them. And, you know, we're not on a recruitment drive, and you don't get commission. Well, you do get commission rewards, but it's not it's not something that if you fall short on, you're going to get a question. You didn't manage to convert 5,000 people in your lifetime. No, rather, it, telling people about Islam comes from a place of concern. We want them to have the best in this life and the next. Best in this life with a heart that's thriving with love for Allah and His Messenger, and applying the rules of Islam. If it's not applied properly, that's a different discussion. But applying the rules of Islam, so this concern for them, and you also want to save from the hellfire, which will come from them, recognizing Allah Subhanahu wa Taala and His true message. So that's where it is. So it's not a case of I want them in my club. So all you have to do is you have to tell them and leave the rest to them and Allah. As long as you convey the message properly, you've done your part. And so this is like if you have non-Muslims friends, then just bring up the conversation and speak to them. It doesn't have to be in this really um, elaborate way. Sometimes just planting a seed is sufficient, you know. And I used to work with I used to work in a store, and there was a manager, and he was a young man, a few years older than me, and he didn't, it's like it's clear he didn't have much of a concern for religion. So one day it was raining outside, no one's coming in, we just stood around. So I said, "So do you believe in God?" And and then he said, "No, not really." But he said, "Although," he said, "Minan."
لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله.